Welcome to Medical Science Liaison, the podcast. I am your host, Dave Starrett. Today, Dr. Pannu, Dr. Jasleen Pannu is our guest, and she is an interventional pulmonologist and the medical director of early lung cancer detection at the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center. So Dr. Pannu, it's just great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave. I'm very excited to chat with you.
You know, on this podcast, we're often helping people who want to break into the industry. Mm-hmm. You know, we have people, they want to go work for big pharma. Maybe they're a nurse, maybe they were in sales, something else. But I say it's so important for us to gain the perspective from the physician.
Yes.
And we just want to highlight your story. I've met you a couple of times. I know you're passionate about early detection in lung cancer, but I just thought maybe you could just share us a little bit about your story. When did you know that you wanted to become a medical doctor?
You know, I think I always knew. I think what attracted me was the human side of things, how I would have the opportunity to touch the most deep, vulnerable portion of people's lives and make a difference. And I was actually really good in maths and physics and that side of things, if I went through numbers, but it was totally missing the human side of things. So what drew me initially was that ability to make a difference on a very human level.
Yes.
So that's when I took my first step towards picking up biology as my subjects, and then pre-med, and then, medicine and medical school eventually.
Wow. You grew up in India, right?
That's correct.
Yes. What part of India?
So I grew up in the northwest part of India. It's a capital city called Chandigarh.
Okay.
It's a capital of a state called Punjab, which is on the northwest frontier of the country. It was a very metro kind of city, upcoming. It was capital of 2 states. It was very high on education. A lot of people moved there to get their kids better education.
Yes.
So it was that drive towards, achieving and being the best was there. I remember, I think one of my classmates was the granddaughter of a former president.
Really? Wow.
One of my schoolmates was the granddaughter of the current prime minister. So, it had that much bureaucracy, but obviously the school was very high expectations and excellence oriented.
Wow.
So that shapes your own dreams. I come from a very modest home, actually.
Yes.
No, there's no politicians in my family, no big business tycoons. Very, very modest. But just growing up with them, it opened my vision, because it doesn't matter where you come from. It can be a door opening, but to go forward in your career, you really needed the mindset and the abilities. So it was a good step, I think, to grow up in that place.
Did you have the dream? Did you imagine when you were, say, 15, 16 years of age, that you would be the medical director of the early detection of lung cancer in Ohio at the Ohio State? Did that ever cross your mind?
Not that much specifically, but just dreams of okay, I will be a medical doctor in a hospital with tall, shiny ceilings.
Oh, yes.
That's what.
Wow.
But
you had the dream.
You had some kind of a vision, but the field of medicine evolves so quickly that you take one step and you cannot see further unless you take that first step, because things are changing every 5 years. I think we do something different.
Yes.
So this field had not even evolved when I was starting to be in medical school.
No, when you started medical school, how old were you then when you went to medical school and you finished?
I was 17 when I went to medical school. So we started, there's you don't need to do undergrad for medical school in India. So I started at 17.
Yes.
But that was 2002.
Okay.
So, there was no screening evolved.
Yes.
Lung cancer was suggested, taken as a death sentence at that time.
Right.
And whoever suggested screening was just put down.
Yes.
Because this is a useless test and all kind of things. But the field evolved so much. Interventional pulmonology did not really exist at that time. It was formalized as fellowship, I think, in 2013 or 14.
Wow, 2013, 14. I lost my grandfather, World War II veteran, avid smoker, lost my lung cancer, lost my uncle to lung cancer. My wife, her mom, was a well-respected interior designer here in Columbus, Ohio. She was a non-smoker. My wife was the youngest of 5 children, and she died of lung cancer. But back then, there wasn't the early detection. There wasn't all these precision, with precision medicine, these targeted agents. Most of these lung cancer patients were all treated the same. Okay, so you come to the United States and you do a fellowship, right? Was that, okay, and tell me about that. Was that first where did you go first for your fellowship?
My first step in the United States was to do residency.
Residency.
I was in Youngstown, Ohio.
Really?
Yes. At one of the NeoMed programs for my residency. And then that's my first exposure to the world of pulmonology. It was through intensive care.
Yes.
It was through ICU. So I was really intrigued with it. So from there, I went into a fellowship to do ICU, actually critical care medicine, to Mayo Clinic, Rochester.
Oh, wow.
And I was drawn and very intrigued by the field. And it was then that I got exposure to interventional pulmonology.
Okay.
Because that center was a pioneer and leading the development of the field.
Yes.
And it had its 3 big leaders in the field that I was introduced to. It was Dr. John Mullen, Dr. Fabian Maldonado, and Dr. David Mithun. They were leading the field, and they had even a more senior pioneer was Dr. Eric Adele.
Okay.
So they had really written the very initial textbooks of the field. And even though I was not particularly in that fellowship, I realized that, through my connection that I needed to do that. And then once I did that, then I further advanced through the Interventional Pulmonology Fellowship.
Okay.
Yes.
And then you went to Vanderbilt, correct?
Yes, eventually. I had to do pulmonology also.
Okay.
So for 2 years, I was in Connecticut. Doing a pulmonology fellowship, and then I went to Vanderbilt. So a long field, a long journey of education there to get to that field. It's a very highly specialized field. So you need to get your basics down in intensive care management, because a lot of the times patients are very sick. You have to get your basics in pulmonology and then in interventional pulmonology on top, because the field is full of these procedures that have innovated from something else in the past. Are continuously getting innovated into something else. So there's a long line of procedures we do. We spend about a year in fellowship to learn all that.
Tell us about some of the big, our audience, just a general audience. Some people are thinking about getting into medical device or pharmaceutical, but talk to us about the innovation that you've seen. What are some of the biggest changes in interventional pulmonology that you've seen in the last 5 years, 10 years? What are some of the greatest innovations that you've seen?
So I have seen the greatest innovation in more of early lung cancer detection, really. So there's the basic, when we have to treat advanced cancer, there's tumor debulking that happens through rigid bronchoscopy and use of lasers and cautery and cold equipment, and that has stayed, which is pretty traditionally what is interventional pulmonology. But a lot of the other procedures that I trained in fellowship have now completely changed.
Okay.
And we learn every year something new. So the most innovative procedure that I have, I think, known now is our increasing precision to get to smallest of the spots or lung nodules to find lung cancer early.
Yes.
During my fellowship training, the average size we would get to would be 2 centimeters or so.
Okay.
Through this electromagnetic navigation systems. And our yield was about 70%. We were successful 70% of times. And then over the years, now we are on an average about 1 centimeter, sometimes lesser. So you can get to the smaller cancers even early. And our yields or success rates are now sometimes touching above 90%.
Really?
So we're getting more and more accurate. We have added not just a 2-dimensional X-ray imaging, but now we are able to add 3-dimensional imaging. So while we're doing the biopsy, we are able to run a CT-like imaging to know exactly where we are in relation to our targets. Because as you can understand, with 2D imaging, we were only looking at the front side of the picture. We did not know whether we were behind the spot or just ahead of it. It would only give a 2-dimensional photo finish. Now you can get a 3-dimensional model. It has the devices that we are using are extremely innovative, shape sensing. They are flexible, they're controlled with the help of these monitors and consoles with high precision movements. So it's really evolved where I think that we are able to get to the smallest of the cancers before they can become significant. So I think this is like prime time, right? So the stage is set. Now we have the equipment. We just need to get this technology to the community, get the awareness to the community. That is not anything to be scared of at this time. It's more like, let me find out if I have this and get rid of this, and then so that I can get on to my life like nothing happened.
Yes.
And that's totally possible. I've seen patients who had the cancers taken out so small that they were able to, in a few days, go back to their regular lives.
A few days.
Yes, like it was nothing that ever affected them.
Is lung cancer still the leading cause of death of all the different types of cancers?
It is absolutely. It is responsible for about 25%.
25%.
Lung cancer related deaths. The numbers we are really hoping to improve because. The survival, if you look at overall lung cancers, is about 28%, according to the more recent data. But if you catch lung cancer early within the first 1 or 2 stages or more, the regional, your survival is more than 70%.
Yes.
So because of that, I think the big shift can happen if you really find it early. Even in cancers that are found late, there's a lot of therapy options now coming up with targeted therapies, immunotherapies that are changing the world of lung cancer in the sense that it can be a disease that you can live with. Even if you can't get rid of it, you can live with it. Like people have diabetes, right? They live with it. We never get rid of it. But we modify our life and we go on treatments to live a decent life with it that way too. But how good would it be, right, if you can get rid of it?
Yes.
So those fields are, I think, really evolving. And now research is coming up and future is looking into ablative technologies where you diagnose a cancer, stage it, you localize it and actually treat it in the same procedure. With the help of some ablation, just like whether it's microwave ablation, some rays or different treatments that can contain that tumor, kill the cancer, and get rid of it.
Would you still say that one of the biggest challenges of lung cancer is that it stays hidden and those symptoms stay hidden for so long? And maybe just from your perspective, who should be getting screened?
Absolutely. So that is the number one cause, right? If we got something on our skin and we have a little bump, sometimes we notice it because it's right in front of our eyes.
Yes.
Lung is such a big organ that sometimes if something is there for which is a centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, unless it's like pushing on something else, it does not create symptoms. So it's essential that we go for it intentionally, looking for it, whether there's any growths or something. So the first low-hanging, targets we can go towards is people who have been exposed to known risk factors, and the most known risk factor for lung cancer is cigarette smoking. About 80% of cancers are associated, directly associated with cigarette smoking. So we can definitely target those people first because the exposure to cigarettes is not only causative, it's also incremental, means it increases with the number of years of exposure and age. So the current guidelines, say it's about 50 to 80 years of age, anybody more than 50 years of age, essentially, and who has smoked more than 20 pack years.
Okay.
And what that means is 1 pack year is a pack of cigarettes smoked for 1 year.
Okay.
So somebody who has smoked a pack of cigarettes for 1 year is 1 pack year. Somebody who's smoked 2 packs of cigarettes for 5 years is 10 pack years.
10 pack years.
So whoever comes to that number of 20 pack years is somebody who qualifies and it is covered by most insurances. And then who are also currently smoking and have quit in less than 15 years.
Okay.
So that's the current criteria. But keep in mind, this criteria has expanded. It was supposed to be 55 before, and now it's 50. So I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to expand.
Yes.
because like you mentioned, it's not, lung cancer is not exclusively happening in people who smoke. There are some people who have smoked for several years and they do not get cancer. And 20% of people who have never smoked get lung cancer. So there's other contributors. There's genetics is a big one. And then there's other exposures that we talk little about, like radon gas exposure.
Radon, yes.
This is like the number one.
And some of those
cause.
are issues here in Ohio as well, and a lot of smokers as well.
Yes.
You talk to us a little bit about, you've talked about going to where the people are. We're in Ohio.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about the mobile unit?
Mobile unit, yes. So it's not just important to have technology, right? It's important to get that technology to people, and you have to come to real life to understand that. What are some real life barriers? There's transport, there's missing work, there's stigma, hesitation, fear. So in order to cross all these barriers, one thing we can do is to, instead of waiting at our doors for people to knock and then come in, what can we do to take this test outside? At people's workplaces, maybe, hopefully, and then, maybe on the corner of their homes, So we have come up with this mobile van that carries a lung cancer CT screening scan in it, which is the same scanner as what is there in the hospital. It's just loaded in this van, which looks very comfortable, and within 5 minutes, you can hop into the van, get your test done, and then go back to your work or home or wherever you had to be.
Yes.
So it was launched specifically to target underserved areas, and that may be geographically underserved, or otherwise areas where healthcare access has been limited.
Yes.
So that has been one of, I think, my very dear projects that I'm very happy that has been successful so far.
How did this project come about?
So it came about actually before I was involved in the program. Our senior leadership and one of my very dear mentors, Dr. David Carbone, he was working with. He has been a pioneer in the field and developing several molecular targeted treatments for lung cancer. And he's a big proponent for early lung cancer detection and had been pushing lung cancer screening, much before our times. And he had ended up with the grant with the pharma company, actually.
Okay.
So that funded the van that first gave us the ability to be able to launch this van.
Yes.
And then, it was taken over by our cancer center also. And now this is our own van that we run. Yeah.
Yes. And I think I first heard about this at one of your events at the James. Maybe it was the Breath of Hope or one of the fundraisers as well. Yes. I just ran into Dr. Carbone and Case on the airport recently here. But what a great way to reach out to the community here in Ohio. Maybe you mentioned partnership. There are people here thinking about getting into medical device. A lot of our listeners are in the industry as far as regional directors or MSLs. What makes a good partner as far as medical device or pharma? You have interactions with these companies. What are some of the characteristics when you've interacted with representatives of some of these pharma companies or medical device that you feel like is a good partnership?
I think medical representatives have a big role to play in this partnership because they're the bridge between industry or pharma and the physicians, right? So I think one way to partner very effectively is to work and understand how the workflow is for every patient as well as the physician.
Yes.
So understanding that it's not just about having a screening test or a diagnostic test, but then how people get there and different aspects of diagnosis, right?
Yes.
So if it's a screening test, then which all screening tests are possible and which one is more approved? How can that screening test be more accessible to people? Like understanding the issues of accessibility and distribution, as well as insurance coverages is a huge thing. Yes. Then at the same time, like I was describing to you, the evolution of devices, right? What were the problems with first devices and how can we make them more and more precise?
Yes.
So somebody in medical industry and in device industry sat down with physicians, and several of them and understood that what are the problems? Why are we stuck at a yield of 73%? Why can't we get to 100% or at least close to it? So then somebody, together brainstormed, well, it's because we don't have 3D imaging, and how can we put it all together? So it's a lot about looking at a problem solving, and brainstorming together. So it's really about working like a team. And just like I'm describing a small specialty or small part of whole of medicine, there may be millions and zillions of such opportunities. And every single step is important. Every single needle or a little, a little stopcock or a more groundbreaking, technology, it all contributes together.
Yes.
So I think whatever somebody's passionate about, to find a partner in medicine and then actually observe their workflow and how patients are interacted with, what is the bottleneck, and innovating together to understand that. And also from the physician side, we sometimes are in our own worlds as if industry will suddenly drop something, like a crystal ball and they will drop something magical, and that's on them. That's not true. We have to voice what we need and build together so that it can, what is built with technology can work clinically.
Yes. You mentioned a word a little earlier. You talked about Dr. Carbone, mentorship. You talked about, in a Mayo Clinic, those physicians who you could look to as well.
Yes.
Now you're in a position, others look to you as well.
Yes.
And it's same with us too, like people who want to become an MSL or, a medical sales representative.
Yes.
They look to mentors. I'm a mentor to those wanting to break in. Talk to us now that you have become a medical director of this. How important is mentorship for you that you've received, but also given to those young physicians who are now looking to you?
Mentorship is so important. And what is mentorship really is that to honestly tell your story, honestly share your story. There have been a lot of times in this journey where I felt like, I think I'm the only one going through this. Nobody else has these issues that I'm encountering. How could I ever get out of this? But, at some points I had the instinct, okay, let me call this person and I'm just going to share this. And that includes Dr. Carbone, that includes Dr. Maldonado, that includes Dr. Carla Lamb, a lot of mentors, really human beings who were willing to be vulnerable to share their experience. Like, hey, I had this similar situation and I was really distressed with this. And this is what helped me eventually. And sometimes accepting, like, I couldn't really figure out what helped me, but this is how it really works. So the part of sharing is really, really the first part of mentorship. And I think it helps, well, individually it helps, but in the long run, it really helps build programs and change the face of medicine.
Yes.
Because what you learn from your mentors, you apply to translate in your professional as well as personal lives. So I'm fortunate to be the leader of the Society of Women in Interventional Pulmonology, and we have realized that mentorship is still more, there's still more camaraderie we see amongst our male colleagues, but women, just being slightly quieter, more self-doubting, we may not even engage in that later. So we intentionally have global mentorship programs, which is almost like an intensive executive coaching for about 12 weeks. And we have spread them out not only in America, but throughout several continents. So our first cohort was in America. That was in 2024. And through last year, we've held a cohort for Africa as well as Europe, and are just going to launch an Asian cohort to really mentor leaders who can lead the field of interventional pulmonology to take it to the next step.
So this is called the Society of Women in Interventional. What is it called again?
It's called WIP Strong, which it really means Women in Interventional Pulmonology Strong.
Okay.
So
did you start this organization?
I was one of the founding members.
One of the founding members.
Yes.
Wow.
It officially started in 2018.
Okay.
Right when I was finished my fellowship and jumped right into it. But it was a thought of concept for like a couple of decades from very early women who were in the field.
Yes.
And it's now formalized and growing just to spread the importance of mentorship and leadership in this field, which is extremely important. So I think to have not a mentor, but mentors is an extremely important thing.
Yes.
And it applies to every industry, I think. I think in definitely pharma, device industry, medical industry. My husband is a chef, like I was just telling you, in the culinary industry. He has still mentors he regularly keeps in touch with. It's just, it's a connection, like a big brother, big sister like connection that can share real life experiences with you. And then there is another aspect of mentorship, which is sponsorship, where your mentor sponsor goes to bat for you. They sit at tables where decisions are taken, and they can say, "I have this person." They name you. Say, is a great person to handle this.
Yes.
And then this helps the person who is trying to engage into the project, and also your mentee or your sponsoree to take their next steps forward.
I love that. You said two things that stand out, and it applies exactly what we're trying to do here. Is like you said, one, not just a mentor, but mentors.
Yes.
Because I think there's this principle, there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. Yeah. Sometimes we look to the one. And if we get so focused on what that one person does, we're human. We're imperfect. That one person might let you down.
Yes.
But if we seek out multiple people that we can pour into, and then you mentioned going to bat.
Yes.
And that's what we try to do in Medical Science U. I remember when I was trying to, my degrees were in religion and philosophy. I was trying to break into medical sales. I had no idea even how to get an interview.
Yeah.
But I remember one guy went to bat for me, and he's like, if you prepare yourself, create a business plan, I'll get you an interview.
Yeah.
He went to bat for me. He told the hiring manager, you have to give this guy a chance.
Yes.
And I think that's so important because, now it's not that we can be doing that all the time.
Yeah.
But if someone proves themselves, they do the work and they show up and they know what they're doing, then we go to bat for those people. And we do in this industry. You mentioned your husband. You said he's a chef.
Yes.
And I thought maybe we could close out with some of these personal questions, because one of my questions was about your favorite restaurant. But tell us about your husband is a chef. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, what's the favorite thing that your husband makes that you enjoy eating?
He makes this pasta, which is, I think, I'm bad at taking the exact name, so I'm going to describe it like a child. Yeah. It's a pasta with white sauce and herbs in it, and lemon and salmon.
Wow. Sounds delicious, though.
So I can picturize it, but that's exactly how I tell him to make it.
That's great.
He can read my mind, yeah.
That's great. So it's a pasta. It's got salmon. Sounds very healthy as well, too. Okay, now when you all... sometimes I'm sure when you go out in Columbus, what's your favorite restaurant? When y'all ever go out, is there a restaurant that comes to mind that's like, this is where we want to go?
We go to, and this is our thing, whenever we go out and we visit, we go to the most local hole-in-the-wall places.
Okay.
And we just like to hang out there, and that's the focus of a lot of our trips, that we do a food sort of a scene, wherever that is. And we don't usually gravitate toward the big fancy places.
Yes.
So something that is very local and, maybe takes everything from a farmer's market, maybe even grows it locally.
Any holes in the wall here in Columbus I need to check out that you can think of?
I think, I don't know if I can name any, but... you can check out a series of them through the Cameron Mitchell chain of restaurants.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Yeah, we love the Cameron Mitchell restaurants, too.
Yes.
They're so good. Okay, travel. You and your husband, any exciting places you've been in the last year?
We recently took a trip on U.S. Highway 1. So that was the entire West Coast of the United States.
Really?
So we started...
where did you start?
We started at the Mexico border.
Okay.
In Tijuana, right? There's the border security by what's the state? It's the border park, something like that. Just on the border of Mexico and San Diego City is right there. So Tijuana, and then we started from there, drove up LA, Orange County, Laguna Beach, up to then San Francisco, and then all the way up to Oregon and Washington.
Wow.
That
Beautiful.
was incredible.
What was one thing about that trip that stood out that was maybe one of the most beautiful places that you saw?
I think there was a place that was called the Whale Point. And it was that, but then you had these sea lions actually right there, and you could just look into this vast expanse of just sea and mountains together, which you actually see in sometimes opposite places. Mountains don't usually occur where sea is, So it's right on the coast. There's a huge mountain, and then there's sea, and then there's the voice of these sea lions.
They're loud.
Yeah.
They're loud animals.
So just like you could see, that was like the perfect symphony that you could imagine. Yeah.
All right. One last question here, Dr. Pannu. Yes. What is something about you that people might not know from just reading your professional biography? Something for our audience to take away.
I have a very creative side to me also. That is not professional, but creativity that feeds my own innovation. So I am writing my first book.
You're writing your first book?
Yeah, so I'm writing, and I also paint.
You write and you paint. When do you find time to do this?
So it's interesting. Something that fires your, creativity and innovation, it just revives you. Yeah. So it's rather than being a process where, you have to get your task done. It's something that you are drawn towards whenever you have a few minutes and you write things down.
Okay.
So it's a very like a non-exhausting, almost like therapeutic process.
Really?
It finds its own time.
Yes.
Because it's not like date-oriented or task-oriented. It's not a goal that you have to accomplish, but rather than something that you have to evolve and let yourself free into. It could go anywhere. So that's a side of me. I think it gels very, very closely with the logistic sides, the more logical sides of medicine, where you have very clear boundaries and you cannot go beyond them. You have strict guidelines. So, but how do you evolve if everything is very strict? How do you invent? How do you innovate? It's because you can dip down into this creativity and know how ideas can flow and how you can take parts of those ideas and actually turn them into projects and reality. So I think that's how I go back and forth and balance myself out. And then travel. Travel is puts everything into perspective. I
like that combination. You mentioned even before you were trying to go into medicine, you were good at math and physics, and you were trying to explore as a young girl in India, and now you went into medicine, and the whole world opened up in interventional pulmonology, and then just the combination there. But I like that there's this creative side. What do you like to paint? If you have to paint something, what do you like to paint?
So I did landscapes, and then more recently I'm doing portraits with some abstract elements to it.
Okay.
My recent portrait is going to be that I'm currently working on. It's called What It Takes.
What It Takes,
and it's really what it takes for a woman to make it. And the elements for me through my life have been it takes intense grit and courage that sometimes bleeds you.
Yes.
So it's blood, sweat, because it's hard work. Okay. And there are some tears because, when you're leading something that is transformational, when you are a leader, you will get cut and you will have pain. You can't avoid that. And still love, to still have a loving, compassionate heart.
That's a great combination. To have discipline, to have grit,
yes,
and to have love as well.
Yes.
Just like we need structure to be excellent in your field, but to tap into that creativity helps us to think outside the box. Yeah. Dr. Jasleen Pannu, great to have you on the Medical Sales U podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you're trying to break into medical device or pharmaceutical sales, or maybe you're ready to reinvent yourself into a new specialty like oncology, our program, Medical Sales U, can help.
I'm extremely grateful for Dave Sterrett and his program, Medical Sales U.
I'm now making $60,000 more than I was as a pharmacist.
I highly recommend the program. I just landed an incredible dream job.
Our members come from every background: nurses, pharmacists, teachers, athletes, and they're breaking in fast, averaging $151,875 in 11 and a half weeks. Many are earning over 200K. The industry is changing lives. You can change lives. Check us out. Medical Sells You. Invest in yourself, and let's get you in the game.